everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Lori and I'm the face behind Entretejidos Crochet and Lori's Crafty Corner, which is mostly the profile I use when I'm scrapbooking. It's been 2 weeks since I've been able to sit in front of a camera, even though yes, videos have been put out every single week, but you know, that's the beauty of batch recording. Now let's catch up for these last 2 weeks, because regardless of it being very hectic, 2 very hectic weeks, I have been able to stay crafty in very different ways. I've been able to scrapbook, I've been able to make some headway on my blanket pattern. I've released a pattern. I did finish some pattern tests in those 2 weeks. And yeah, it's coming along. It's coming along. I will share over here a little like boomerang from Instagram of painting safety eyes, because I've been getting quite a bit of orders. Thank you, by the way. Quite a bit of orders for safety eyes. So I've been having to sit down more often to paint these eyes and ship the orders out. The other thing that I did, as I mentioned, I released my Simplicity coaster. Although, true story, it's not so simple anymore. It's just a thing. I don't know why, but whenever I start to work on my patterns and I get into the groove of it, I start making variations and adjustments, and I want people to be able to buy the pattern and be able to make all these different things, all these different variations, or get different results by playing around with the stitches. So it'll be linked down below, and here's a picture of all 4 of the variations. In terms of the blanket pattern, it's coming along. I just haven't been, like, even though I have been carting around the little tote box that I have with the yarn for the blanket, whenever I sit down, it's like I am able to work up a row before having to, like, you know, stop and do some other things. So I'm definitely playing around with the color, what color goes where, because as a little refresher, I noticed that I have more of the terracotta and pink colors than I do of the off-white beige color. But just look. So this is what I have so far. It measures roughly 45 inches across. I can't wait to finish it. I think I'm more than halfway done with it. So probably if I do really hunker down and finish it, I'll be able to finish it within the next week, which means that I can already start with another one and another one. But I'm going to try and stay on the pattern and not add so many different variations, because the particular thing about blanket patterns is that I would like to include the sizing information. So if you're using my same yarn with my same hook, and you want to make it into a lovey, this is what you would have to do, and that sort of thing. Even though I am trying to gear this pattern towards the adventurous or advanced beginner to intermediate. Premier Yarns they're just killing it with all the new colors that they're coming out with Parfait Chunky, and they just announced that they're bringing in new colors for Basics Chenille. Basics Chenille is like the dupe version for Bernat Blanket. So if you love Bernat Blanket, Basics Chenille is a nice dupe. It's slightly thinner with Bernat Blanket. Depending on the batch, I'm able to use an 8 or a 7mm crochet hook with Basics Chenille. I've used a 7, I've used a 6, I've used a 5.5. But then again, it also depends on the project, and it also depends on your tension. But if you love the blanket feel of Bernat blanket, Basics Chenille is the way to go. For this one, I'm using Basics Chunky, and it's just, I mean, look at that. Look at that. I love it. I love it. And the fact that it's my blanket pattern is, I did mention that I was pattern testing in those 2 weeks, and I have been able to finish Harry. The pattern is by Woolly Tunes, and he's made entirely of Parfait Chunky. You know, this is Teddy Bear, Espresso, Shell, Ruby, Mustard, Fog, the new charcoal color, and black. He has custom painted safety eyes. I went with the eyes. Oops, he lost his hat. I went with the eyes from the book, the green eyes. You have your mother's eyes, that sort of thing. And here's a hack. His glasses were made with floral wire. I grabbed about 4 strands of this to a certain length, rounded it out, and then I wrapped it with some Basics, not Basics, I'm stuck with Basics, with Premier's Parfait Chunky. Other item I pattern tested is, this is Elliot the Tiger, and it's by Crochet and Coffee Co. She'll be tagged down below. And look at him. He is big and chunky. I was able to use a 7mm crochet hook because I used Basics Chenille in mustard, mushroom, rust, mushroom, and black. And then for the toe beans, I used Bernat blanket in terracotta. But just look at how big he is. Safety eyes are by me. These are my new colors. They are called Ruby Kisses, and he has a felt nose. So far in February, I've had 2 big makes. I haven't done quite that many small plushies. In fact, I've only done these 2 plushies, but I'm fixing that because I am pattern testing another one. So I'm pattern testing for S&H crochet or handmade, her Digby the Dachshund pattern. It's a snuggler, and it's for a Dachshund or Dachshund or Doxy. And this is just the start of the face because of the head, because I just literally started this yesterday. Once we finish catching up, we'll spend a bit of time crocheting. So this is the head, and I'm using Joann's Big Twist Hush. And this mix of yarn, let me check. It's 100% polyester, but let me tell you, this is, I would say it's even softer than Feels Like Butter. It's, I don't know, when I'm crocheting with it, it's just like, it almost rolls off my hand. It's very soft. I'm trying to use up my yarn stash as much as I can before grabbing some new yarn. We've all been there, I'm sure. And this one, I grabbed it because I want, whenever I think of a snuggler, I want it to be soft. Yes, Parfait Chunky is soft, but I wanted the blanket texture. However, I did not have enough blanket yarn, or at least I think I don't have enough blanket yarn to make the entire plushie. So this is classified as a bulky 5, and I'm using a 6.5mm crochet hook with it, which is giving it a nice tight look. It almost looks like it's made with acrylic yarn, but it's not. Once we're done catching up, I will add the safety eyes in and then continue working on it. So that would also make it to having finished 3 pattern tests. But there's another one that I'm a part of. again, and I know I say this pretty often, I should probably stop applying for pattern tests. Oh well. It's all good. So the other pattern that I should be working on, but I haven't picked anything out for it, is I'm making Piccolo, and I'll show you Woolly Tunes' picture of Piccolo. And this was a husband request. When I told him that I got chosen to pattern test it, I think he was more excited that I got picked than I was. I was excited, I really am, because I love Woolly Tunes patterns. But I think he was even more so. Like, usually when I tell him, oh, I got picked for this pattern test, he's like, oh, yay, good for you. But this one he was like, oh, really? Oh, that's so so interesting. I had mentioned that I've been scrapbooking, and it's nice to take a break from time to time from one hobby to go into the other one. And I've been working on a mini album. This was part of a kit that I purchased off of Dorimar Perez. I think her page is like Cartas de Papel by Dorimar, something like that. Kit was like, I purchased it, I want to say 2 years ago, but it could be 3, and I haven't done anything with it yet. But we finally, my mom and I, we finally sat together, we cut up everything, we put everything where it's supposed to go. And right now I'm in, it kind of looks like it's, some pictures are peeking out, because I'm in the process now of trimming down the photos and then sticking them where they're supposed to be stuck down. And let me just show you the front part. Just look at that. I don't know if it's like a me thing, but I kind of like to do things sort of like by steps. Sticking the photos down, adding the journaling, and then adding any finishing touches on the page that I'm currently on. I just want to add all the pages into where they're supposed to go. Then I'll start back up with adding all the journaling, and then I'll start adding any last, like, you know, enamel dots and things like that. So it's kind of like an assembly line. I don't know why I'm like that, but hey, it works for me. So how do you work with things? Do you do it assembly line style, or do you do it like, I'm gonna sit down, I'm gonna finish this, and I'm not gonna touch anything else until I'm done? Or I'm not gonna continue to the next page until I'm done. We are done with catching up, so now let's get to crocheting. I'm gonna pull up the pattern on my laptop, and we'll just work on, I'll just work on my thingy. Don't you just love how technical I am from time to time? So I'm gonna work on the Dachshund Snuggler pattern. All right, so first update, we have the head. I just can't get over it. I honestly just finished him in like 5 or 10 minutes, but the struggle with placing safety eyes was real. Because yes, I kind of wanted to use these pink ones. I forget what they're named, but they're by me, because I wanted it to be kind of like a bright color, but I don't have them in 30mm currently. I would have to like bring out all of my safety eye supplies and then paint one, and I kind of want to finish him today. So I went with these. These are the new mermaid color. I've had the mermaid colorway for about, I want to say like 6 months. But as with everything, sometimes when I purchase the same glitters, they aren't exactly the same. Sometimes I've had to add new glitter into the mix, so it kind of looks different. So it went from being a teal and purple mix with just a little hint of green to it being more of like all the 3 colors splayed in between, like intermixed with each other, when you look at it from afar, it kind of looks like a gray color, but I know the colors are there. I know. I mean, look, I like it. So next up on the pattern, we have to make the ears, 2 of them, arms, 2 of them, and I believe after that we have the legs that we have to make, and then the body and the turtle. It's a tail. I can read. I really can read. So hopefully, like, the arms and ears don't look to be too big or too complicated. So I'll get those down. Let's see how much I can get done today. So check back in soon. So update time. I was only able to finish 1 arm and an ear. Just look at how adorable this is going to be. Oh my goodness. By the way, if you hear any barking in the background, that is my very own Doxy rescue everything but the kitchen sink breed. But he does take mostly after a Dachshund. Only able to make that sort of progress before I had to put it down. I don't know. I mean, maybe we do get like this from time to time. At least I do. And I think it has to do with being tired. The math wasn't mathing. There was nothing wrong with the pattern. It was just like, in a way, it like seemed like I had forgotten to crochet. It's kind of weird, I know. So I was like, okay, let me just put this down. I'm not gonna work on it. And I started to work, well, not work, but I started to play a little bit of Stardew Valley. I even took a nap, got a bit refreshed, and now I feel like I can continue with it, which is good, but it just means that it's going to take me a little bit longer to make this. And I kind of wanted to film this video in the sort of sense of what I do usually in a day. Although the update was over 2, like everything I made over 2 weeks. I'm gonna end the video here. If you saw anything that was interesting, anything that you would like to ask, please start a conversation down below and I'll be super happy to get back to you. Okay, I know I look like something the cat dragged in. By the way, that's Mr. Entretejido's crochet back there. I look like something the cat dragged in. I feel like something the cat dragged in, but I needed to show you that I finished, and I even woven all the ends except 2, but it's done. Look at this. Look at it, look at it. And there we go. Funny thing is, even though on camera it is a very terracotta color, The terracotta color is very terracotta-y. I shared that I was finishing up the pattern and whatnot, and Premier Yarns shared the story to their story, and they put like a Neapolitan scoop of ice cream, and now I can't unsee it. Like, we have the vanilla, the strawberry, and the darker one can be chocolate. But see, this is one of those ends that I just need to, I'm gonna add some glue to it because it's right at the edge, and it's at the edge where the two colors mixed in. So I need to add some fabric glue to it, and then we'll be done. But this means that I can finally put out the tester call for this pattern. I may or may not have gotten some of the new Basics chenille yarn to make my boys their own blankets, like their own good blankets, because they do have some crocheted blankets, but it's just plain, like a plain blanket of single crochets using burlap blanket and like too small of a hook. So they are getting their own crocheted blankets, and I'm gonna use this pattern because I do want to show off that it can also be more of a like a manly sort of thing, even though it's like lacy and whatnot. And I'm going to be making a baby blanket with it in worsted weight. So we are going down the blanket making rabbit hole, so to speak. I have not made any sort of progress in the doxy pattern that I'm supposed to be testing. I have not touched anything with the piccolo one because I've been focusing on finishing the blanket pattern and working on something that you'll see in next week's video, so stay tuned for that. But officially, thank you all so much for joining me today. I will see you next week with another video, and I'll see you then.